morning, everyone. My name is Anastasios Tsimpas, and I'm working at the General Secretariat of the Council of the European Union. I'm here to present you a small project that we did over the last year, and actually it has been in production right now, and it's about the Presidency Portal for informal events. Let me see. Okay. So this is the agenda for which I'm going to be speaking today, but let's dive in. In the Secretariat, as we call it, we have our main domain that I'm working is with quite a few other colleagues, is the information and knowledge management domain. This is the core domain, as we call it, the core business domain. There we have 4 pillars or 4 categories of systems. It's systems about the electronic management of the council activities and support, the digital workspace for the GSC, so it's the workspace for our users, our colleagues, business-to-business systems, and lately we have launched an e-presidency domain, which involves all of the services that we offer to the rotating presidencies, and the first actually project that we do on this domain is the Presidency Portal for informal events. So the e-presidency has a set of different systems, but the PPI, as I call it for short, is about meetings planning and meetings organization. The idea, well, before the Estonian presidency which happened the second semester of 2017, all the information about informal events organized by the rotating presidency, either at the capital or here in Brussels in the permanent representation, they were actually all the information was communicated by the form of emails, attachments. So a lot of data was duplicated. It was not efficient at all. The Estonians, being quite active, let's say, on the IT space, they have created an overall system of managing these events, which they called at the time Presidency Gateway. The idea, though, is that we took actually quite a lot of ideas from them, and we tried to do it more generic and to be able to fit more than one presidencies. We started officially the project on November 2017, but as I told you, the idea was to actually do something simple, very easy, and to deliver it in a very short time of periods. So the goals of this project was to actually be able to have like a common user interface for all the rotating presidents from now on, so that the delegates and other participants of informal meetings to be able to have like very easy access to meeting information and documents about meetings. This was the main point. So we shouldn't have any user manual. It should be a very intuitive and user-friendly application. Obviously, it would give like a way to share information between the presidencies about events and participants. This would mean that actually the presidencies would start to share and to collaborate on a data level on the information about events and participants with each other, and would start to create a bit of like, if you want, a unique or like a common approach to all the presidency activities, independent of which presidency would be holding the lead. Since each presidency was also had their own process and their own specifics. So the delegates or the participants of these informal meetings, they would have to, actually, depending on the presidency, they would have to change the way that, for example, they participate to events. So the idea here is that we try to formalize this process of managing informal events. And obviously, it's quite a big cost reduction for the presidencies in terms of planning and organization, but also in development. So just to give you an idea, each presidency for 6 months, they would have to create an accreditation system a presidency, a portal, and also a website. This would amount to around 600,000 to 7 per semester, which then at the end of the presidency they would throw away. So the idea here is that the Secretariat would eventually, the vision is that we would provide all the systems required, like software as a service in that kind of way, that they can actually reuse it and they don't have to occupy themselves with this approach. We tried, as the project was quite short, we tried to use some technologies that they would help us bring a value in a very short period of time. So the idea was that since it was a document-based system, we tried to use a content management system on the back end, which is Alfresco. Then Alfresco integrates already a few years ago, has a very good tight integration with the Amazon Web Services. So normally it takes normally around 50 minutes to 1 hour to set up an instance of Alfresco on the cloud. So choosing Amazon was something that was quite straightforward. We chose actually to do it in the cloud for more than this reason of the tight integration, in the sense that there is no, for the Presidency Portal, there is no confidential information, and we don't have any official documents. It's mostly documents that are related to agendas, meeting agendas, and particular information about events. So it was quite a straightforward and easy choice. Then, okay, we use Solar, since we have experience in-house also, and it's very well integrated with Alfresco as well. And then for the front end, it was more Angular, since we wanted to have like one version that could run on desktop computers, but also on tablets, on mobiles. And the Nginx is the web application server that is quite well integrated with AWS. This is what Amazon gives out of the box, if you want, with Alfresco. It's a complicated design, but the idea is that you have like 2 availability zones, left and right. And actually, by using a wizard type of configuration, you can set up your environment, as I told you before, in a bit less than 1 hour. It gives obviously all the security and firewall capabilities of Amazon. And then we have several users and some user management. So most of the participants of these informal meetings are head of state and ministers, obviously, delegates. We left journalists as optional, in the sense that there's a possibility to use the system, like to have some public access for journalists or not. And then some external entities, like, for example, my Chinese delegation or Russian delegations or third-party anyway delegations. There are access rights defined, which are quite flexible and can be defined by presidency, by each presidency. So we have defined a set of visibilities for events, like public, private, and protected. We have user roles, 3 or 4. And then, okay, there is the presidency preferences. So depending on the rotating presidency, they can take quite a lot of decisions on how open or how close they would be to the public. The planned number of participants per event, there's actually no limit. Normally, it would reach up to 1,000. We have seen now, since we rolled out the system in May for the Austrian presidency, that is actually concluding its period now, they have planned around 280 events, informal events, and we have around 20,000 users that have been registered and has used the Presidency Portal at least once. So this makes it, it's quite a visible and quite an extensible platform, and so far we didn't have any problems of availability or scalability. Yeah, it's multilingualism was one of the important properties of the system that we identified from the beginning, and it's the case for all the systems that I think that they're built in the institutions. There is language support for quite a lot of the event metadata, but also for documents. There are fields that have been defined in the basic model that yes, that indicate the language of the events and also the interpretation languages. The front end right now is in English, but there is support to have multiple versions. We ask actually from each presidency, future presidency from now on, to give us some their theme, if you want. So each presidency has a logo, has a different color scheme, and they can actually create and customize the templates that they want to use for notifications and invitations. Now, okay, this was an outsourced project. It was quite short. We did it in an agile way, since we, even though we didn't have actually the business or the stakeholders close to us. But at the end, okay, we tried to do a very simple version for the first iteration, put it out, and then get some feedback from the Austrian presidency that takes place now, and then have like other sort of improvements and iterations with the future presidencies. What we offer now, because we offer the Presidency Portal as a service, but we don't really own the data. I'm in council. So we offer, we host and maintain the PPI. We obviously correct in case that there's a bug or some issue. We have also set up 3 lines of support. The Austrians, they want it 24/7. That's why we have the operational. But yes, the idea is that the presidency takes up most of the functional questions, and then we take up more of the technical things. Now I'm going to give you a very short demo about the system, just to show you some screens and you have an idea. I will not really go into much detail. Okay. As a first iteration, we actually focused more on the functionality and to have it working and to do whatever it's meant to be. We didn't pay a lot of attention on, well, okay, we tried to do it visually pleasing, but now the second iteration that we are going to deploy beginning of December, it's going to revamp a bit the front-end part. So there are 2 ways to log in, using Presidency Portal account or using the e-login. I'll go with this one because it's the easiest way. We have a data protection agreement, which is for, it's abiding to the data protection declaration of the member states. So just to go very quickly on the screens, this is a very basic, so you can see past and current and upcoming events. Then by going to, for example, this is a conference events. Okay, it's a bit slower than normal, but okay. So you have some basic description, type, formation. So we try to match all the stuff with the formal events that we have in the council. Then you can have 1 or more venues that in the mobile you can have directions. The event manager can define agenda points. You have sessions, some contacts in order to be able to communicate in case there's a problem, some documents attached to the meeting, and since I'm an administrator to this system, let me see, yes, okay, there is a list, quite a big list of participants. They get pushed from the accreditation system. Yeah, here it's the admin menu. So we have like the presidency contacts, so I can quickly search there. 1 or more templates that can be defined by the presidency. And yeah, we don't have it actually in place, but the idea is that you can actually switch presidencies as the system has been used for more than 1 presidency. That's it. I think I'm a bit done on time. Thank you very much.